Good evening and welcome to the LFC Stuff podcast, episode 24. I am your host, David, coming at you live from Liverpool in my Scouse Halloween costume that Shane kindly bought with us a few weeks ago. Thanks, Shane. With me is Shane.
No problem. Hello.
And Joshua. And we're going to talk about Shock Liverpool and their recent victory against Manchester City. So buckle up. It's going to be a not so bumpy ride. It might be, depends on if you listen to this in the car or not, or if you're my girlfriend, because that's a bumpy ride. I'm getting a really angry look now. Moving on. 3-1. Quick question. Favourite goal of the game?
Fabinho's.
What, just because of the fume it generated?
All right, Gary Neville. I bet you think Claudio Bravo should have saved Fabinho's one as well.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Sky. I haven't watched the Sky highlights or anything. But when I got home, no,
No, I didn't. I don't think he said Edison would have saved it. I think he just said, or maybe he did, but he just. Yeah.
what?
Like he like he was just carrying the narrative over into. No,
No,
no keeper saves it. But
like,
yeah, it was. And that's the one Ederson doesn't even dive for that one because there's no point.
listen, I'm a person who believes that. Well, 90% of shots outside the box shouldn't be going in purely because the keeper's got a good view of it. But goals like that where it's hit so hard that it's past him before he even has a chance to dive. That's how hard he's hit it.
And he doesn't have a great view of it either because there's so many people in the way.
Well, yeah, I thought they were really bad in that transition. They're two centre mids, they're two sitting centre mids, just fell so far back. Yeah, but they fell in line with the centre backs. Sam Lee, yeah. Yeah. But they have got two sitting midfielders back. It's just that they're too far back.
Well, it's Gundogan who's in the box that clears it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. And then, but hearing Guardiola say that's bizarre to me because he's the kind of guy who's banging this drum about zone 13, as they call it, being the most important zone on the pitch, and to leave that completely vacated with two players that are supposed to be in that position is just absolutely nuts to me. You can see he's got the technique.
City were good.
I thought they were good all game.
They were.
To be honest,
They were.
it's a really good finish. I was going to ask you guys. Was that another one that they said should have been saved because it went on his near post?
I thought I heard.
No.
Someone on Twitter said I think that Souness was having a go.
It hits the inside of the post.
It's an unbelievable finish.
It's a really good finish. To say the least, it's the inside of the post, but it doesn't just it doesn't hit the inside of the post and then cannon kind of towards the middle of the goal. It then spins off the inside of the post and goes even further into the corner.
Was that your favorite goal then, Dave, of the day?
Yeah, it was probably the best finish in terms of technique, but I can't go any further than Fabinho just purely for the falling down on the big fat guy in front of me and stuff like that. It was quite fun. I don't know why I pointed out that the guy was fat, by the way. Sorry, carry on. No, it was before. That was within the first 10 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you've got to kind of consider the fact that they've probably got the best dead ball deliverer in the league as well.
And he was terrible.
I thought with the ball he was terrible. I thought without the ball, oh my god, he didn't stop running. Jesus Christ. Oh yeah. But
yeah,
he did it twice as well, though, didn't he? He miscontrolled it next time as well.
But he
can't talk. We need to let him talk.
Yeah, maybe he was. It's possible he was just rattled as well because I know he has the bad touch early on. But even you're saying how like timely our goals were and how we both our goals kind of came out of nothing. But the funny thing was I think I wasn't able to watch it, but there's some French TV channel. They do I think they make kind of they almost make a movie out of games like that, and it cuts to De Bruyne after we go 2-0 up, and he just says to one of his teammates, he's like, 2 shots, 2 goals. That's impossible. You know, they must have been so frustrated. I think he kept his head on. In the second half anyway. I am so polite.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the City players react to Guardiola now that they're fourth. They're not pissing everything.
Well, the signs aren't good already with Sterling showing up to England training and assaulting Joe Gomez. So
yeah, well, we'll get onto that in a bit. But just to recap the game for people who are kind of living under a rock for the last week or so, Liverpool took the lead. Well, yeah, we did beat City 3-1. Liverpool took the lead first of all through
top of the
Fabinho. Scores from about 20, 25 yards out. Bit of a pile driver into the Annie Road end. Second goal was by Salah. A lovely ball from Trent with his left foot from the right side, again against City, like he did against them at the Etihad. Last season, over to Robertson, who then crossed in for Salah, who actually showed up, and it was quite ironic how Liverpool's clinicality kind of came when Salah was back to his best, it seemed, until he got, well, just crocked by Fernandinho, but more on that later. That was followed up by a Mane Darwin header from a really good Jordan Henderson cross at the start. It was a Darwin header at the start of the second half, and then yes, that was poor goalkeeping, and then yeah.
Did you hear Gary Neville's comment for that one? Yeah, it goes in, and Gary Neville's just like, the goalkeeper, he is what he is. Because of course at this stage, yeah, because Neville at this stage, like he's already blamed him for Fabinho one. I thought the Salah one was a good finish, but I guess he blames for that. So then when the third one, which is actually not great goalkeeping, goes in, he's just like, oh well, that's it, isn't it? Yeah.
Getting political. And then obviously that was followed up by Bernardo Silva's really nice finish from the edge of the box in a game that he probably shouldn't have played, but we'll again get onto that later. I know, yeah. This was another game that I found myself kind of looking at the XG total and going, huh? Do you undervalue Mane's header, for God's sake? Like, how is that the biggest chance of the game? Yeah, it was. I think it was. Oh yeah, I forget who it was, but yeah, they undervalued a lot of headers.
But it kind of goes to show why you shouldn't get like too wound up by like the XG of one shot, you know, because there's all kinds of variations going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the fact that Walker gets his head onto it though that makes it look like a big chance, you know. And keep in mind as well that Aguero, if you're talking XG, like there's that where it rolls across the box and he just doesn't get his foot to it for some reason, and that would be
that'll be non-shot though.
That's like a massive chance if he just even gets a slight toe onto it. So yeah.
No, I mean we've had this conversation about spectacles before, haven't we? You would think at this point, given how big it is now, that you'd think it would be a bit more. It would take into account that the cross was well above Kyle Walker at full flight. You think that would be taken into consideration? It seems as though it's just kind of an algorithm, and there's no kind of nuance to it whatsoever. Yeah, it's. I mean, it probably will come with time, and it probably is a lot more complicated in terms of paid. Well, you know, places like StatBomb and stuff. Oh yeah.
Not even third.
I'm currently photoshopping Pep Guardiola's bald head onto Arsene Wenger as we speak. But yeah. Oh no, that was just a bit of a curse in the end, wasn't it? Yeah, they won every single game when I was doing that, so I won't be doing that. I think at the end, it got to the point that people were begging me not to do it because they were winning every single game. They were surprisingly good though. His head really does blend onto every Premier League manager, quite surprisingly. It's really, really weird. But anyway, following on from the City game, Manchester City made a formal complaint to the FA about Michael Oliver's performance in the game, even though their main issue seemed to be with VAR. So I think it was. He gave what should be given, to be fair. Like, yes. I think I've just read a Sam Lee piece on it. Guardiola believed that the referee was affecting the flow of the game. So basically, well, I don't know whether it's a bit of an indirect dig at Liverpool for saying that City are tactical foulers. Whether or not he's trying. Well, we did in this game. It was ironic because we tactical fouled more and they dive more.
We were fouling them a lot out wide as well.
We were
Like,
fouling them a lot in the first 10 minutes. That was one of the
yeah,
main issues.
I don't know, was that a tactic or what? But
No, it wasn't a tactic. It was just poor play. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But
I'm well up for City not getting if they like complain. I'm well up for them complaining about him and thus getting to be refereed less by the only good referee in town. You know that. Yeah, he's the only one that isn't complete crap, but they're just signing up for more Martin Atkinson and yeah, just like you want Michael Oliver refereeing your games if you're a big team just because he's going to call it straight, you know.
yeah, I don't really want to get into the penalty because I don't really think that people understand the phases and whatnot with VAR. So I think it'll just be complete speculation, to be honest. See, what the PGMOL said though was that the Bernardo one is nothing to do with it if you're looking at the perspective of the actual goal. So you've got to look at it from the perspective of the goal, and then if you're going to disallow the goal, then surely you're going to give a penalty. But then you can't give the penalty because the Bernardo handball. It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's the Leandro Paredes paradox. And I just wanted to get that out there that I was right about that fraud. But carry on.
Nailed it.
Yeah, from the Listen, it's not a penalty because for it to be a penalty, you would have to take the Bernardo Silva one into consideration. So it's definitely not a penalty. But well, yeah, at worst it's a free kick to Liverpool. But I mean, the new rule states that if it doesn't hit Bernardo Silva's hand and his hand is in that position, because it's going to Sterling, you're denying a goal scoring opportunity. So it's a penalty. But in terms of it being an unnatural position, is it? I mean, look at Aguero's arm. They're both turning. They're both at the same height. Like, it's not necessarily an unnatural position, but again, it's cancelled out by the Bernardo one. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, whilst talking about Bernardo Silva, we can move on to he's finally been banned for his racial comments about a teammate 1 month after the deadline, coincidentally after City played their biggest game of the season so far. And now, in hindsight, now that they've lost the biggest game of the season so far, he is going to be banned for their real biggest game of the season so far against Chelsea. Yes. He's also been fined £50,000, I believe. Which, in terms of FA punishment, is probably about a fifth of his wages. However, I don't really think in this instance it's down to the FA to be fined them, given it was between teammates. I think that action really should be by City. And
Well, no, because that's the precedent set by Suarez and Terry, isn't it? So that's more.
well, yeah, there you go. I think that's pretty much been summed up. We can now move on to even more. Fucking hell, all this game was disciplinary fucking conversations. Well, yeah, so we can move on to Raheem Sterling. Well, during the game, just for some context, there was a bit of an ongoing battle between Sterling and Trent. At one point, Trent kind of nudges Sterling into the cop. I wouldn't say it was worse than Robertson's on Walker, to be honest. But
I thought it was. I thought Robertson's was like. I thought Robertson just puts his elbow into Walker. Maybe Walker's running a bit faster, but like Trent, like it's very funny to watch it back because Trent like puts his arm. He gives kind of Sterling a nudge, and then he puts his hand on Sterling's back and kind of actually pushes him. And Sterling like really turns around and gets in Trent's face. He's like, "I know what you did," and Trent's just like, "Well, I didn't do anything." You know, Trent just plays complete. It's so funny. Like then Sterling would have gone home and seen it, and he was like, "Yeah, he did do it deliberately."
yeah, well, yeah, he goes wild at Henderson at one point. But he starts like stomping up and down like a child on the sideline at one point as well. Yeah, yeah, he was. Yes,
I
And
didn't
then
notice that. I didn't notice that at the time. I only saw that yesterday. Yeah, it was very naughty.
he stamps on Van Dijk, and then that leads to the incident that kind of begins everything. Where what actually happened between him and Gomez?
Gomez tugs him back. The ball is played over the top, and Gomez tugs him back. The referee blows before they even get to the ball. And then Gomez gets to the ball, and Sterling goes to take it, and Gomez just kind of just like just dribbles it in a certain way so Sterling can't grab it. Sterling gets annoyed, and I don't know if he grabs Joe or pushes him, and then Joe just turns around and picks him up like a bold child, and then and then you could see Sterling's right in his face, and he was someone even put up the video. It's like, I wish we could see what they're saying, and he's like, he's in Gomez's face, and he's like, don't ever. He's like, don't fucking do that or that. He's like, don't ever fucking something. He's like, he was really. I think just being whatever, like people are saying, like there was one tweet. It's like, oh, Sterling has a daughter. You can't go home and look your kids in the eye if you let another man do that to you, because like it is pretty funny what Gomez did. He just kind of picks him up, and then that was for Sterling. That was more insulting, obviously, than being potentially injured very badly by being pushed into advertising hoarding. But that was the incident.
That was the incident. Well, after that, they supposedly kiss and make up behind the scenes. They're seen hugging. Then they meet up with England the next day. Joe Gomez is the first Liverpool and only Liverpool player, I think, at that point at St George's Park. When Sterling first gets into St George's Park, he walks into the canteen to see Gomez and the group laughing, I believe. Well, yeah, it weren't necessarily at Sterling. They were just laughing from, yeah. So Sterling takes offence to this, walks over, and supposedly tries to grab Gomez by the neck, asking him, well, if he's still a big man now, which he is. He's a pretty big man. And this leads to a bit of a scuffle. Gomez keeps his head completely, according to all sources. Sterling then gets omitted from the England squad, gets sent home. Gomez then pleads on his behalf. And Henderson plays peacemaker, and well, yeah, and then Sterling is invited back to St George's Park, and he's just out of the Montenegro game now as a result. But he'll still be back with England. So, yeah. But I mean, I think we've seen a lot of commentary on this, and a lot of fingers being pointed at Liverpool fans. Now, I just want to kind of reiterate that the treatment of Raheem Sterling since he's left is no different to the treatment that Fernando Torres received, Steve McManaman received, Luis Suarez received. Yeah, it's literally no different. I cannot.
Yeah. It's only really blown up this game as well, because when he's come to Anfield other times, he's been crap and he's been taken off early, or else in the Champions League, Guardiola just decided not to start him. But whereas this game, not only was he City's best player, but there was 3 flashpoints as well. So it's brought a lot more focus on, and in turn it becomes a cycle where Sterling's wound up because the crowd are booing him. He's getting in confrontations. That's getting the crowd up even more. It just all feeds into it. And then the thing with Gomez, which is it is a fucking wild story. We had Rebecca Vardy in the last international break. Now we've this. It hasn't let us down, international break. It's doing its part. Yeah. But and even the story as well of because Gomez, I think it was Oliver Kay wrote that he impressed some people with how cool and calm he is. Like, yeah, that's just Joe Gomez. Like, of all the people, of all the Liverpool players you could pick a fight with, like he could, yeah, yeah. Well, he had to compose himself first. He was probably distraught over two England players fighting. Just call him Raheem. But he like of all the players you could pick a fight with, not just because Joe Gomez is like pretty.
Fucking huge.
Well, yeah, Klopp had to tell him to lose muscle, but also like in terms of how like placid he is, like like he could have picked a fight with Trent. You're like, well, yeah, fair enough. Trent fucked him into the advertising,
Yeah,
pretended
yeah.
he didn't. You could pick a fight with Robertson. There are enough narky lads, but like after Gomez, the only more like weird players to pick a fight with would be like Matip or Allison. They're just like pretty chill, pretty calm. Like it's such a weird fight to pick.
If it was with Trent, I probably wouldn't have understood where he was coming from.
Yeah, I'd be
But
pissed off, But Gomez is just like that's why it's like this more. It seems like a more a macho thing that like you don't pick me up or something. That was what Kay wrote that they think that the lampooning on social media might have wound Sterling up.
yeah,
That everybody's laughing at him for being picked up, which just makes it even funnier.
um, he
Yeah.
the thing is though, there's a I think. Sorry, go on. I think that I think that one thing that has gone under the radar massively, and it's because these things are kind of they're just disregarded now purely down to the fact that it's just been spewed so pointlessly in commentary by pundits. But there is a massive lack of leadership at Manchester City since Vincent Kompany's left. It's so apparent. There's no way they would be ahead like that with Vincent Kompany was there. Because they couldn't.
They were spooked by FFP, wasn't it?
It weren't FFP either. It was homegrown quota. That's why they were going after Harry Maguire. Once they couldn't get Maguire, they tried to ship Otamendi off. Couldn't ship Otamendi off.
Well, they wanted. At least when they got Scott Carson in, they got a Champions League winner.
Well,
So.
they really should have just sold Sané, and because they've been without him anyway. If they had just sold Sané, they would have been able to sign a centre back.
Lovren.
Play centre back.
For Pep, anyway, yeah.
Zinchenko centre back. That is a true galaxy break. Right. That's a nice way to put a cap on the City Liverpool one. We can move on to other subjects. So last night on Twitter there was a tweet by Henry Jackson. I think he writes for This Is Anfield? He writes for? Oh fucking hell.
Hold fire,
There we
hold
go.
fire.
Josh's colleague.
Hold fire.
But he made an argument that Jordan Henderson, and if you take into consideration the body of work, obviously, as Liverpool captain, is a better, albeit maybe marginally, captain than Steven Gerrard was. I was just looking to see what you guys think about that and who you would say was the better Liverpool captain of the two. I kind of know what Josh is going to say, so Shane, do you want to take the baton first?
Well, first and foremost, I'll preface it by saying it's kind of hard to define.
It is, yeah. It depends on what you like, really, doesn't it?
I think, and as someone who's from when we started this podcast, I was the one standing up for Henderson more than anyone, even at his worst form. But I think it really just comes down to the fact that Gerrard was just this world class player. So like, I think his leadership was almost secondary, whatever leadership was, and he freely talked himself about how he kind of more led by example, whereas Carragher was the vocal, the shouter, the screamer, the organizer, you know, getting in people's faces if they weren't doing their jobs or this and that. Whereas Gerrard was just focused on being a world class player. Whereas with Henderson, who, all due respect, isn't a world class player, but I think because of that, you look more at his intangibles, you know, his leadership, professionalism, things like that. And Klopp always bigs it up, and because he's never had an easy ride for the press or fans, either within or outside the club. You know, teammates, and that's very nice, David. Teammates and managers have always kind of been quick to big him
I
up and
thought I
protect
muted
him in
me
that way.
mic.
No, you hadn't. You fucking reprobate. Fucking hell.
Well, I didn't want to blow my nose. I'd have to go and get tissue, and then
Yeah. If you don't agree with me, Dave, you know, you can just say that. You don't have to. Jesus. Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah. So yeah,
very
Henderson
good monologue,
snort.
Shane. Sorry.
Henderson snort. Yeah. I don't know. I think he's pretty good, and whatever about him being the better captain, I do look forward to him eclipsing Gerrard's legacy by lifting the Premier League title and hopefully more trophies. That'll be very satisfying for me, at least. Because he's going to be manager someday. It's like the dark cloud.
No.
It's the dark cloud at the end of this Klopp rainbow. You know, it's. Well, we're erasing him from history, anyways. Now that he manages that Glasgow club, yeah, he manages that Glasgow club. So
A lot of bad games.
did we even mention his unbelievable assist for Mane?
Yes, I did.
Oh, good man.
I
Yeah,
did. Out of all the
lovely.
people on this podcast, I did. No. Oh. Uh, personally, I don't think anybody could have carried the club quite like Gerrard did for those years that, that he did. And I don't kind of agree with the thing that he wasn't vocal. He was. Don't get me wrong. He led by example more than he
Just compared to
vocalised.
Carragher, because you could hear Carragher screaming all game, every game.
Well, Carragher's also a centre back as well.
Yeah.
Like Gerrard was a 10 for a lot of his Liverpool career. It's easier to bark orders when you can see the whole game open up in front of you. But I think personally, I think Gerrard was the better captain in what I see as a captain in terms of like the guy was Liverpool. Like he was synonymous with Liverpool Football Club for the years he was Liverpool Football Club captain. Jordan Henderson isn't. Which there's no problem with that. You know, I think Henderson's better in terms of what we were talking about with Sterling and Gomez before the personal things off the pitch. I think he's actually much better than Gerrard. Yeah, Gerrard wouldn't have done that. Like Jordan, he's clear. I think of Gerrard in that regard, but I think he's probably a bit better than Gerrard in terms of what Shane was saying about the organisation as well. But in terms of being the face of a football club, that's the second biggest club in England and in the biggest league in the world for so long, and having to hang on.
You might as well read it out for us, Josh. Oh.
God damn it! I can't even see it. Oh yeah, I've just seen it. It's a photo of his dog. But yeah, I don't think it matters, and I don't think there's that much between them. Maybe if we win the league with Henderson as captain, I don't think there's much argument, to be completely honest with you. But for the time being, that's probably my take on it. And we can move on to the one listener's question I think we've got after that. Yeah, we have. What? Two. Why the fuck do we just get food questions? You guys have set this, President. You've ruined it. Right. The one that I can see anyway is from Blaine at Baby Keith. Is cereal without milk good or vile? Good. Carry on. Well, it depends. It depends on the cereal.
Cereal without milk.
Yeah.
Like what's the point? Yeah,
Well, I wouldn't sit there and just eat it, but I could if I had to.
Depends on the cereal. You're not gonna like, oh yeah, I want a fistful of Rice Krispies. Like you fucking. I want a fistful of cornflakes. Actually, Dave probably does have fistfuls of cornflakes, doesn't he? Yeah, he does. Of course he does.
Frosties.
Yeah, because that's just like a sugary snack. But like even like because Blaine has been tweeting about this for a while, and he said Oh yeah, I get a bowl of cereal, and I said, "Why'd you even get a bowl? What's the point? Like, do you eat it with a spoon? Would you not just eat it like a bag of crisps? Like, why are you pour?" The savory ones.
What are the you know the little mini boxes of like 8
Yeah,
cereals? Yeah, what are the honey ones in there? No, this no.
honey nut Cheerios.
No, it's got like a B on the logo on the packaging.
Oh, they're Kellogg's. They're the Kellogg's honey ones.
Yeah,
They
they are nice. Oh, well.
they don't even make them in big boxes anymore. I think they're only sold in the varieties. Honey Loops. That's them.
Honey Loops.
Someone's alarm's going off. Oh, I thought it was Dave's. I thought it was Dave's
Right.
alarm reminding him to clear his nose again.
No, Jamie's.
My take is on this: cereal, great. Cereal milk, better.
Right, there you go. Josh, what's your question? Barbecue chicken.
Oh, chicken on a pizza. Will you fuck off? fucking white people, man. I swear to God. Well, I assume if he's asking for the best singular topping, my go-to in any restaurant, plain and safe, is like ham and mushroom. But yeah, yeah, pepperoni. Pepperoni is good if it has peppers. It has to have the peppers to make it properly work. No, because it's like James Milner said about pineapples, about the contrast, you know. Well, I had a friend whose favorite pizza topping, and this is when I was firmly against pineapple. Now I'm more, I can go either way on it depending on the other toppings. But yeah, I am. Yeah, I enable the pineapple eaters. But I had a friend whose favorite was pineapple and pepperoni, and I thought that was the most ghastly thing I ever heard. But now thinking back on it, I imagine the contrast was quite nice. Apparently Blaine's gonna do one when his parents create an iTunes account that he can use. And when he's not in school.
Oh, fucking hell. Well, there you go. Anyway.
Yeah. Were we supposed to preview Leicester Chelsea, or are we doing that next week, I guess?
No.
Yeah. Granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, we can
Oh,
do
yeah.
it before next Wednesday.
Love a bit of...
Yeah, well, we can sort this out, you know.
I love a bit of admin on our favorite.
Yeah.
That is.
Right, anyway, I've got a virtual league to win. So, I'm work to go to, so... And a girlfriend to spend time with us, I was just being informed, so...
Yeah.
Shit! I'm getting throttled. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
on that note, everyone, it's...
Raheem Sterling! Yeah, on that note.
It's been real.
It's been real.
Slán.
Till next time.